Good morning, guys. So I'm going to be bringing you along today with me as I go to Winona, Minnesota to do a public speaking engagement at Winona State College. I will be doing speaking on ableism and disability justice, as well as my experiences with having a disability and navigating education and work and friendship and things like that, just navigating my life experience. So the class itself is Intro to Special Education, and then the audience are those students, and they're all future teaching students. So I'm really excited to give this presentation. Without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get my day started. Minnie, yep, big back. So I usually get some people asking, what do I use to actually make the presentations? So I have Canva Pro, and I feel like it's also really helpful for YouTube as well, like for creating thumbnails. So what I did was, first they requested I send them a little bit more information so that the class could learn something about me. And so you can see, I just put kind of what I'm doing career-wise, my hobbies, diagnostic journey, and then some of my favorite projects that I worked on in disability advocacy. So for the PowerPoint itself, it's about self-advocacy, and then this just is kind of the contents of what I'll be talking about. They asked that I speak a little bit about my diagnosis so that it could help them better understand how it would impact me in education and as a student, and so that teachers could also know how to help me better. So I just have 2 slides on that, talking about my experiences with education and how disability impacted it. Some pictures that go along with it. The beginning of my advocacy journey, they were wondering like how I got into advocacy in general. Pictures from my early days. That's, I don't want to say my first public speaking engagement, but definitely towards the beginning of my journey. And one thing that I feel like really helped reaffirm my path in advocacy was every time I go up to Washington, D.C. So that was my first trip ever to Washington, D.C. That was for Dysautonomia International. And then talking a little bit about what I do as a disability advocate right now, as long as some pictures. That was my second trip to Washington, D.C. for Rare Disease Week. And then these are kind of things I'm working on right now, so doing more public speaking. I've been doing work with the young adult rare representatives for rare diseases up at the Minnesota Capitol, transportation issues in my city, and then we're creating a sensory room on my college campus, and then also doing some events for Disability Pride in my city. And then a chat. And I also made sure to include a 5-minute break in between that last slide and this one, so not only would that be helpful for me, because I might need to take a brain break, but then also for the students too. So sometimes I get questions about how do I make public speaking accessible to me. This is how. So yeah, right now I'm just reviewing my slides. I pretty much already know the material since it's stuff that I've lived through, so I don't really have to memorize anything. And plus I'll have a copy of the presentation right in front of me anyways. But yeah, I'm just going over my slides. I got my breakfast, and of course, Layla is supervising my food in case if I drop any. And then Minnie's down here too. Alrighty, so I am all done up. I have my outfit on, I have my makeup done, my hair done. I have these little earrings that I made to match. So all of my earrings, I don't know if you guys can see them, I keep them all right here, and I try to make matching earrings for basically every outfit that I have in my closet. So it just makes me feel a little bit more magical. And then another thing that I do too is I always wear glitter eyeliner on special occasions. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I just feel like it makes me feel so magical. Okay, so let's talk about how I actually got into advocacy. I spent a lot of time in the hospital as a kid, and one of the resources that really helped me was there was a child life program, so they kind of taught children about what was going on with them in the hospital in a way that's age appropriate for them to be able to understand. Another resource was the Ronald McDonald House, and in the hospital they had what was called the family room, and it was basically decorated like a regular house. It did not resemble a hospital at all, and it served as a home away from home. So during my hospital stays, I would go in there, bring my IV pole, sit on the couch, watch TV, color, talk to the volunteers, make a meal, just anything to try to feel a little bit more at home. And the last one was Make-A-Wish. So I actually had a Make-A-Wish trip during my high school experience. So when I was younger, I actually didn't really realize it was advocacy. I kind of just wanted to work with these organizations to share my story about how they positively impacted me so that people would either donate to, keep that conversation going, to help other children, but then also to just spread awareness of these organizations that were so helpful. And so by doing that, by going out to these events that they were at and sharing my story, it really helped me build my public speaking skills, and then also being able to connect with people and try to do more like philanthropy type of work. Fast forward, I would start like volunteering with these organizations, and knowing that I had that public speaking background, I feel like kind of helped me get in with these organizations. In college, my first college semester happened during COVID, and so I spent a lot of time inside and on lockdown, and basically had a lot of time to just think. And during that time, my health also got pretty bad as well, and I had a lot of time to think about, what does it mean to be disabled, and what does this mean for my future? And I was really struggling with grieving who I was before getting sick, and then trying to also match it up to who I am now, and then create a future for myself. It was really hard mentally, so I started going to therapy, and I feel like that kind of helped me come to terms with my diagnosis a little bit more. But when I was in college, I remember I had to keep changing my major because I thought this major, if I get a job, it's not going to be accessible, or blah, blah, blah. And so I thought, what would be a job that would be accessible? And what if I could just do disability advocacy as a career? And so I started doing a little bit more research, and I found that a social work degree would be something I'd be interested in, and would also help me really propel in my disability advocacy journey. So I started going to school for social work. I was at this disability event that was celebrating International Persons with Disabilities Day, and there was a organization there that had a table, and they were telling about what the organization offers, if you want to volunteer, things like that. So I took some pamphlets home, and I looked through them, and I was like, yeah, I really want to do something like this. This would be really great. So I started volunteering with that organization, and then eventually they put me up to a paid volunteer position. And so I started working for them, and I feel like just by getting my name out there was really helpful, out there in the disability advocacy space. And then I just started sharing my story more, and it almost felt like serendipitous, almost, the way that everything kind of fell into place. I started sharing my story, and then all of these places would reach out to me and say hey, can you come and speak about ableism? Can you come and speak about disability history? And I feel like the more that I started doing that, the more comfortable I felt in my own skin as a disabled woman to then market myself and continue doing advocacy work both in the community and statewide. And so some different things that I've done is I have started a disability advocacy club at my college campus, and we've done change initiatives to make our school more accessible. Or I go to do legislative advocacy and advocate for bills to be passed that would improve the lives of people with disabilities, and I do that on a state and federal level. I also do a lot of peer support stuff as well. So I work with a group that does advocacy and peer support for young adults with rare diseases. And then also I'm helping plan a lot of disability-centered events within my community. So we're having a disability pride celebration. We're having, awareness events on different diagnoses, and getting awareness proclamations from the governor and from the mayor. And I don't know, it's just the way that everything has fallen into place. Almost seems like it was meant to be, if that makes sense. And I'm just really grateful that I'm able to do this as a job and do something that I truly love. Okay, so that's enough yapping. I'm gonna go take a rest and I will see you guys later. Alrighty, so I'm out on the water, eating my lunch. I've got cheddar broccoli soup, I got a sandwich, the rest of my frozen yogurt, but it's almost melted, so I gotta try to eat that. And then look how beautiful it is. And there's a house way up at the top up there. So beautiful. Alrighty, so I'm heading into the building. I'm almost there. And first I'm gonna find a bathroom, and then I bought her a thank you card, the person who hired me. Alright, I made it inside the building. This is what it looks like. Kind of bougie, but let's see, I'll be starting at 5 o'clock. So yeah, I'm just waiting and I need to find the room. I know I'm in the right hall, but I need to go find it. It's literally been 2 hours and I just got done with the public speaking and I felt like it was amazing. There were so many great questions and great conversations that were had, and I just had a really great time, and I just hope that this was beneficial to the students, considering that they're all future educators. I love what I do and I feel very fortunate to be able to do what I love as a job. So before we leave, I want to show you guys a fit check because I actually made my shirt and then I made matching earrings as well. So here I am. Here's a 360, ready? How cool is that? I'm like a superstar. Alrighty, so I'm heading back to the car and I want to thank you guys for joining along with me for another public speaking event. In case anyone's watching that was at the public speaking, I just want to thank you guys for being such a great audience and really being engaged in the conversation, having amazing conversations and amazing questions. And now I'm going to go ahead and sleep on the way home and probably eat the rest of that soup because I did not finish it and I'm a little bit snacky. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!